Hello, everybody. I was inspired today to give a testimony. It's not my whole life testimony, which would take a while. I think I'm just going to testimony a little part of it and just testify about something that happened in my life. Um, Before I start, I just want to preface with please don't judge my family for my testimony. I know some people would probably naturally do that. This is just a part of my past that I am sharing, and want you to be inspired by it, not to feel hate or judgment towards anyone. I wanted to start off with in January of 2017, I was attending Springs of Life Bible College. I didn't get to complete that because it was difficult for me at the time with my health at the time, but I did enjoy several classes there. Um, One of them was How to Hear God's Voice, and it was based on this book, Spirit Talk Hearing the Voice of God by Larry Randolph, which I highly recommend. I think there was just one part in it that was a little sketchy, but very good book. And we actually learned how to listen to God, and we had a daily exercise, which I would highly recommend, where you just listen to God and write down what you get from that. And of course, any of that you would want to judge against the Word of God. But it was a very good book, and it really helped me actually receive, and I would be talking to someone and I could actually say something that would be like, oh my gosh, it really touched them. And then I could pray about that because it was something important to them. So, anyway, I'm going to quickly read from this book to give you a point of reference, and then I'll give you this testimony from my life. So, it's like I said, it's Spirit Talk, and it's in chapter 4, which is Visions. Unger's Bible Dictionary also defines visions as a supernatural presentation of scenery or circumstances to the mind of a person while awake. Other references suggest that visions are inspired insights of revelation from God. My understanding of visions is much the same. I believe there are times when natural perception gives way to supernatural imagery. While awake, one can see heavenly scenes superimposed over one's eyes and mind. Like the servant of Elijah, whose eyes were opened to a host of angels in 2 Kings 6:17, the Lord can open your spiritual vision to see things that are undetectable at the time. Sometimes these images are momentary, at other times they can last for a long time. Such visions were common throughout church history and are mentioned over 100 times in the Bible. In the Old Testament, visions were experienced by men such as Abraham, Balaam, Samuel, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Habakkuk, and Daniel. In the New Testament, men like Zacharias, Peter, James, Paul, and John also testified to seeing visions. The Apostle Paul also received numerous visions throughout his ministry, and the apocalyptic vision given to John the Beloved is contained solely in the book of Revelation. See Genesis 15:1, Numbers 24:4, Isaiah 1:1, Ezekiel 11:24, Daniel 4:13, Habakkuk 2:2, Luke 1:22, Matthew 17:9, Acts 11:5, Acts 16:9, and Revelation 9:17. Like these Bible characters, people today are experiencing visions. It is not uncommon for contemporary Christians to have supernatural visions of heaven, hell, angels, and even God Himself. Through these visions, many have obtained secret information about the plans of God for nations and governments. Others have received insight into the realm of wicked principalities and are able to diffuse the satanic strategy that is designed to cause chaos and destruction. A great number of people also have visions that contain warnings, predictions, and other prophetic messages. Because of these visions, many are informed about things to come, such as shifting economic trends, changing weather patterns, and other events related to our everyday lives. In the recent past, my friend Bob Jones has had several visions about unusual weather storms long before they devastated parts of this nation. Now, I'm not promoting witchcraft or mind readers or anything like that. This is different. This is from God and it's strictly pertaining to God's business. When I was taking this class, I had a memory come back to me. I was actually a victim of a crime when I was in high school, and it caused a lot of memory loss. And I completely forgot about this happening until I was taking this class. And I just realized that I had had a vision before this had happened to me. So I want to share that with you. And I pray that it blesses you and I pray that it inspires you. When I was growing up, I had a very bad home life after the age of about 4. There was addiction in our family, there was mental illness, depression, and it was rough as a kid growing up. And I did not feel like I had a family. Uh, got to that point where I didn't feel like I had a family. And I started hanging out in high school with some people who I shouldn't have been hanging around with. I didn't necessarily fit in with them, but I felt like I was part of something, and that made me feel something that I wasn't feeling at home, I guess. And also high school drama. I honestly believe that what happened to me was because of a boyfriend that I had had at the time. We weren't together that long, but after we broke up, he would tell girls, I'm breaking up with you because I still want her. I did not know this at the time. I did not know this was happening. I don't know why he was doing it, but I don't believe, that he was in love with me or anything like that. But it he said it to the wrong person. And as an adult, I can look back and say she was a sociopath. So this is what happened. I was hanging around with the wrong kids in high school, skipping a lot of school, a lot. I don't know if they didn't call my house or what was going on, but never got caught until I became the victim of a crime. Then they looked and saw, oh, she hasn't been to school in 24 days or something like that. So I was skipping school like usual, and I was being led to believe we were supposed to meet at a certain girl's house that day. We had been there previously. So I left my house in the morning and I was walking through my backyard to get in that direction. And suddenly there was a big screen in front of my face. And it was like a giant TV screen. It wasn't as big as like a drive-in theater, but it was pretty big. And it showed right in front of my face. It showed these girls talking to each other on the phone to trick me into coming to that house. And I knew that something bad was going to happen. I wasn't going to church at that time. I have a history of going to church and loving God since I was a small child. But at that time in high school, I was a rebel and I was not going to church and I was not praying and I did not have an active relationship with God. But He showed me a vision. He showed me a vision of what was going on. And what did I do? I ignored it. I just kept on walking. And I walked to that house, and there were about 25 girls there, which was not the norm. It was usually 5 girls, maybe 6. And I was attacked. The sociopath, she tried to fight with me, and it was not, no, she's not like a strong person. She didn't really hurt me. But then she had told another girl there that I was a narc to sick her on me. And this other girl had troubles herself. And I was on the carpet with this girl on my back, and she was slamming a lead crystal ashtray into the back of my head. And I was begging them, saying, I've never told on anyone ever except for maybe my brother when we were kids, and they were out for blood. And I managed to get out of the house, but I was afraid to. I was afraid to move because I was afraid anything I did would incite another attack on me. And it was like a game to them. It was like a joke. And I managed to get outside, and that same girl chased me outside, jumped on my stomach, and was trying to slam my head into the driveway. And I managed to get away. I lost one of my shoes. I walked home from there with, like, took off my shoe, just walked with no shoes. And the neighbor came up, hey, what's going on? Do you need help? And I was so scared. And even afterwards, I didn't want to tell anyone where I was or what was going on because I was afraid of getting in trouble, getting them in trouble. That was my victim mentality at the time. But I got home. My mom took me to the hospital, and then she took me to the police station. And the hospital said if I would have had a few more blows to the head, I would have died. And then I had to go to the police station and I had to give um, a report at the police station. And like I said, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say where we had been, whose house it had been. It was I was very confused, very hurt. I was um, in shock. And so these girls, they ended up going to DH, detention hall. I guess they went to court. One of the sociopath's mother actually came to my house and was like, "Oh, you don't look like anything's wrong," trying to get us to forget about pressing charges. So this happened to me in high school, and it caused a great deal of PTSD, I guess, on top of how messed up I already was. And I was like afraid to walk around corners at school. I was afraid someone was going to be waiting for me. I was afraid to go anywhere. I was afraid someone was going to be waiting for me. And this girl, who was the one on top of me, who did the damage, she had friends come up to me in school and say, "Oh, Kim, you have to forgive her. You have to, she really wants your forgiveness for what she did and all this stuff." And at the time I was just like, leave me alone, you know. I had memory loss from this. Actually, um, I forgot a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff that I learned in school. I completely forgot stuff. Like when I was really little, my mom used to teach me about the birds and nature. Forgot all that. I used to know all the names of the birds and all kinds of stuff. Knew all kinds of stuff. But this kind of like, I don't know what it did to me, but I have scarring on the back of my head from it. And so anyway, that happened. And life went on, more bad things happened. I eventually, got into counseling, and I've been to counseling um, over my lifetime as an adult, both with the regular counselors that are not Christian and with those that are. And I've healed from a lot of things. So I have a lot of empathy for people going through certain things, and a lot of love for people, and understanding. And I know that Jesus knows what I went through. I know that He understands what I went through. Um, I would say that happened in maybe 1981. That happened to me. And then suddenly, I started being able to forgive people in my dreams. Um, at, at night, when I'm dreaming, I will dream that I am hugging someone and that I love them. And then the next morning, I forgave them. I love them. I forgave them. And that happened in 2011. I had a dream that I forgave the girls that did this to me. And so I decided I wanted to let them know that I forgave them. And I actually contacted them through Facebook. So the one girl I couldn't find, the girl who was the sociopath, I found out that she died. I don't know like how she died, but she was gone. Then there was one of the girls who tricked me into coming up to the house, made sure I got there, contacted her, and she totally denied everything, said I never did that. You know, that was the conversation we had. So I just told her, I said, I forgive you. I forgive you. Um, and I pray that you have a good life. I wish you all the best. And she said, I wish you all the best. So then I contacted the girl who did all the damage to me physically, and I told her, I don't know if you remember me or know who I am. I mean, you think all your life, you think about certain things and they've forgotten you. They don't remember who you are. But she did remember who I was, and I guess she felt really bad about it. She felt really bad about what she had done back in school, and she was so glad that I had contacted her and that I had given her my forgiveness, and that she was so sorry. So I just wanted to share that whole testimony with you. Um, Even though I wasn't going to church, I wasn't actively having a relationship with God, I believe He did not want that to happen to me. And you can say, well, why would God let that happen to people anyway? Because I know I see that where people say that. And I have to say, honestly, it's because there's evil in this world. There's evil walking around on 2 feet. And people need to come to God. They need to accept Jesus into their hearts. And if they would do that, they would never do anything like that. And I love the Lord. He is my Savior. And um, I'm glad that He loved me enough to warn me. He tried to warn me not to go. And that was an amazing vision. And I had forgotten all about it because I had all that memory loss. And then suddenly I was taking this class and I remembered, and it was such a blessing to remember that. So I pray that this testimony blesses you, and God bless you. Have a great day.